Yuki Tsunoda finished 11th at the 2026 Dutch Grand Prix. 8 months out of the car, one free practice session to learn the 2026 machinery, 2 standing starts, an overtake on Pierre Gasly that had the paddock talking, and a finish just 4.6 seconds short of a championship point. For a driver most of the sport had written off in December, this was not a survival drive. This was an audition. And the question every team principal in the Zandvoort paddock is now asking is exactly the one we are asking here today. Has Yuki Tsunoda just secured his Formula One seat for 2027? For the Motion Report, this is our post-Zandvoort deep dive on the Yuki Tsunoda story. What happened over the weekend, what the paddock is saying, and where the 2027 seat opportunities actually stand. Let us start with what actually happened, because the facts of this weekend deserve to be understood before any interpretation. Yuki Tsunoda was informed on Tuesday of the Dutch Grand Prix week that he would be racing. Isack Hadjar sustained a wrist injury during the summer shutdown while training, reported to be during boxing pad work as part of a routine gym session that MotoGP legend Marc Marquez later publicly advised him against rushing recovery from. Red Bull confirmed the injury on Wednesday morning. Liam Lawson was promoted to the senior Red Bull seat alongside Max Verstappen, and Yuki was called into Racing Bulls to partner Arvid Lindblad for the weekend. Yuki was on the beach in Greece when the call came. His preparation window was approximately 48 hours. His last race was the 2025 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. His only previous experience with the 2026 machinery came from Red Bull simulator work and 4 private testing of previous cars' outings. He had never driven a 2026 specification power unit in anger before Friday. His own words on the timing, quote, "It was a very unexpected thing. I can't be sad. It was a moment I was waiting for and I was dying to have this kind of opportunity," end quote. Friday was learning. 1 hour of free practice in damp conditions, 35 laps completed. 17th on the timesheet, nearly a full second behind rookie teammate Arvid Lindblad. His assessment after the session, quote, "To be honest, everything really feels like a rookie. Brake pressure, everything is a lot different to the previous year," end quote. The energy management demands of the 2026 power unit were the biggest single adaptation challenge. He described the brake pressure as completely different. The downforce loss compared to 2025 was significant, and the tire management logic in the sprint format left almost no margin for error. But then something happened. The gap started closing, session by session. Sprint qualifying on Friday afternoon. 12th on the timesheet. Deficit to Lindblad down to 0.433 seconds. The sprint race on Saturday. 13th at the flag. Deficit to Lindblad down to 11.5 seconds across the 24-lap distance. Main qualifying on Saturday. 12th on the grid. Recorded time 1 minute 12.627. Deficit to Lindblad in Q2 down to 0.102 seconds. In Q1, the gap was 0.011. Pierre Gasly in the Alpine was just 11,000ths of a second ahead of Yuki in the final Q2 timesheet. Yuki's own reaction after qualifying, quote, "Honestly, I'm super happy. Certainly, I enjoyed so much this qualifying. Yesterday's qualifying was okay, but I didn't know where was the limit still. It was still a fresh car," end quote. Then Sunday, the race. 72 laps of the final Formula One Grand Prix ever to be held at Circuit Zandvoort. 2 standing starts due to a red flag caused by Max Verstappen's opening lap crash at the final corner. Damp conditions early, 2 safety cars. Strategic complexity throughout the midfield. Yuki delivered a genuinely mature race. He held station through the restart. He resisted early race pressure from cars around him. And on lap 29, running behind teammate Lindblad and Pierre Gasly, Yuki produced the move of his weekend. Using his energy deployment through turn 3, he set up Gasly into turn 7, dumped his battery, held the inside line, and completed a move that Formula One's official live coverage described as an audacious overtake. Yuki's post-race words on the move, quote, "I know what I can do, and I think I pretty much showed what I can do to most of the paddock," end quote. He crossed the line 11th, 4.6 seconds short of 10th place and the last championship point, in front of teammate Lindblad, who had picked up a drive-through penalty for a yellow flag infringement at the start and was effectively forced to race in Yuki's slipstream for the rest of the Grand Prix. 11th place on his return to Formula One after an 8-month absence. The team principal quotes matter here. Alan Permane, who worked with Yuki at Racing Bulls before his promotion to Red Bull, has consistently been one of the strongest paddock voices supporting Yuki as a top-tier talent. His previous public verdict on Yuki had already set the standard. Quote, "His feedback and the way he is in the car, the way he drives, the way he is out of the car are really in line with the top drivers," end quote. That assessment was delivered in 2025 and has never been withdrawn. Racing Bull's Chief Technical Officer Tim Goss confirmed to Formula One's official channels that both cars completed 3 Q1 runs specifically to give Yuki additional opportunities to learn the car. That is a team investing in a driver they wanted to succeed, not just a driver they were tolerating. Peter Bayer, Racing Bull's CEO, spoke publicly on Friday about the internal team decision to reduce pressure on Yuki by directing his attention specifically toward main qualifying and the Grand Prix, rather than treating the sprint session as a performance benchmark. That is careful team management of a driver they were trying to give the best possible chance. Yuki's own closing assessment of his weekend, quote, "I know what I can do, and I think I pretty much showed what I can do to most of the paddock. Now it's up to my manager and other teams, who haven't decided yet about next year's lineup, if they want to have me or not. Call me, please," end quote. The last 3 words were delivered as he was being led away from the media pen. They were the perfect closing note for a driver who had just done everything he possibly could. Now let us talk about what this actually means. Because the sporting performance was excellent, but the seat market is more complicated than the on-track result. Let us be clear about what Yuki delivered. He drove a car he had never raced before. He learned a completely new power generation of Formula One machinery in less than 48 hours. He matched a rookie teammate who has been driving the 2026 package all season. And he finished 11th in the fastest midfield car on the grid, with a genuinely memorable overtake as the highlight of his weekend. That is not just competence, that is proof of ceiling. Sky F1 viewers who watch the weekend will register this as the reminder that Yuki Tsunoda is genuinely one of the most talented drivers currently without a race seat for 2027. And the drivers who watched him this weekend know it too. The warm reception in the paddock from Alonso, from Ocon, from Sainz, from Norris, from his former teammate Gasly himself was not incidental. It was recognition from other professionals that Yuki did something genuinely impressive. The Japanese fan reception at Zandvoort was intense. Yuki Tsunoda's helmet and flags were visible throughout the grandstands. Japanese language social media saw his hashtag trend across multiple platforms on race day. Honda's own communications team was more visible than usual across the weekend. The commercial ecosystem around Yuki is very much still alive, but the seat options are limited, genuinely limited. Let us walk through them honestly. The Racing Bulls full-time seat for 2027 is not available. Alan Permane's team has committed to Arvid Lindblad and Liam Lawson. Lindblad is the future project driver. Lawson proved himself at RB and now at Red Bull Racing, finishing with a strong P7 in the race. The Racing Bulls door closes as soon as Hadjar's wrist heals. Red Bull itself is closed. Max Verstappen has now confirmed his extension through 2027 and beyond. If Hadjar recovers from his wrist injury as expected before Monza, he takes the second Red Bull seat for 2027. Liam Lawson's opportunity this weekend was to prove he was Red Bull material, and while his weekend was solid, it does not reopen the calculation. Yuki has already had his Red Bull chance in 2025. That door has closed once and does not appear to be reopening. Williams is closed. Alex Albon has extended for 2027, with both parties reportedly happy with the arrangement. Carlos Sainz is expected to confirm his continuation shortly following Max's decision. 2 seats, both settled. Ferrari, Mercedes and McLaren are all closed. 6 seats, 6 drivers, none of them Yuki. Alpine is closing. The expected Gasly plus Colapinto lineup announcement is imminent. That closes another 2 seats, which leaves 3 genuine possibilities for Yuki, and each of them comes with a specific challenge. The first is Cadillac, the second seat alongside Sergio Perez. This is where Yuki's Zandvoort performance matters most, because Cadillac has been the least reliable new team on the grid this season, and the pattern of Bottas' struggles has been documented across the year. Bottas failed to make Q2 at Zandvoort while Yuki was competitive. The Cadillac car ran into further reliability trouble on Sunday with Bottas retiring from the race. Sergio Perez finished 15th from the pit lane. That is not a driver pairing delivering results. Graham Lowden, who was Bottas' biggest internal supporter and publicly defended him throughout the season, is now gone. His replacement, Marcin Budkowski, has been non-committal about the driver lineup for 2027. Dan Torres has committed publicly to Perez, but has not extended the same commitment to Bottas. The internal politics have shifted, and Yuki's commercial value to Cadillac is genuine. Honda's commercial network in Japan and Southeast Asia. Japanese market access for General Motors' broader automotive business, sponsorship money. a race-ready driver who does not need a rookie learning curve. Our reading. Cadillac is the primary Yuki target, and the odds are meaningful. If the Bottas decision goes negative before Singapore, Yuki is the highest probability replacement. The second possibility is Haas, where Esteban Ocon is confirmed to be leaving at the end of the season. The Haas contract with Ferrari for power unit supply creates a specific complication for Yuki, because Ferrari would prefer to place a Ferrari-supported driver such as Rafael Camara in that second seat. Toyota's commercial influence on Haas through the technical partnership arrangement makes this even more challenging for Yuki. Ferrari and Toyota both have candidates who fit the Haas politics better than a Honda-backed Japanese driver would. This is not impossible for Yuki, but it is politically difficult. The third possibility is Aston Martin as a genuinely low probability wildcard. If Fernando Alonso decides to retire at the end of 2026 following the Honda power unit performance evaluation at Monza, and if Adrian Newey's team wants a Japanese Honda-connected driver alongside Lance Stroll, Yuki becomes conceivable. But this requires multiple things to align. Alonso to retire, Aston Martin to prefer Yuki over the many other veteran options available, and Honda's commercial preferences to be given weight in the team principal decision. 2 to 3% probability at most, genuinely unlikely. There is also a fourth possibility we should name honestly, IndyCar. Multiple paddock sources have linked Yuki to a potential IndyCar future through his Honda commercial connections, replacing Felix Rosenqvist at Meyer Shank Racing or a comparable Honda-powered seat. This is a real path, not necessarily a bad path, but it is not Formula One, and Yuki himself has been consistently clear throughout the season that his priority is a full-time Formula One return. Our overall verdict: Yuki did everything he possibly could this weekend. He drove brilliantly. He held his own against a genuinely impressive rookie teammate. He produced a memorable overtake. He finished 11th in circumstances that made a points finish structurally improbable. And he did all of this in front of every team principal on the grid. But has he secured his seat for 2027? Not yet. The Racing Bulls' door is closing as Hadjar heals. Williams and Audi are settled. The top teams are closed. His most realistic path is Cadillac, with a wild card at Aston Martin and maybe Alpine. And that decision depends on internal politics that Yuki cannot control. What Yuki has done is maximize his own leverage. He has shown Cadillac's Marcin Budkowski that if the Bottas decision goes negative, Yuki is a proven ready replacement. He has shown Haas's Ayao Komatsu that his talent is undiminished. He has shown Aston Martin that the Honda commercial network still has a race-ready Japanese asset attached to it. He has kept his name at the front of every team principal's mind at exactly the moment those principals are making their 2027 decisions. And what is hindering to get a seat at Haas may help him at other teams who need to think long-term strategic partnerships, and Honda could be a convincing factor to take into consideration. Whether that translates into a race seat depends on decisions that will unfold between now and Singapore. The Zandvoort weekend was Yuki's audition. He passed. Now the seat market has to give him the answer he deserves. Your turn. We would love to hear from you. Do you think Cadillac replaces Bottas with Yuki for 2027? Or does Yuki end up in IndyCar with Honda? Tell us in the comments below. If you like this kind of paddock analysis, please hit like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the deeper editorial work we do, you can buy us a coffee via the link in the description or join us on Patreon for exclusive additional content. For the Motion Report, this is David Schneider. Thank you for watching.